That's the way to travel. And here I am with my heavy pack. But there might be 2 or 3 people that watch it.
Well, that's what always gets me. You read these reviews about people, and they're always reviewing this stuff, and they're waiting for their stuff to come next week.
Yep.
Well, actually, I was kind of hoping you had some actual experience with
it. Yeah. I'll review this piece of gear. I just barely got it.
Yeah. I haven't been. I went out in the backyard once with it, but don't know how it's really going to be when it's cold.
Yeah.
In the snow. I'm in Phoenix right now.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I bet it's 90% of it. This part is what I think is just...
Isn't that amazing? That's a pretty long stove
innovative,
pipe.
Yeah. That is awesome.
And they make like, what, a 24-man stove? So think how long that hunger must be.
Wow. Yeah, I would have thought of doing a stovepipe this way.
I wouldn't have either. That's why they're richer, I guess, than I am.
Yep. Well, I'm the lazy guy over here with the watch, and
that's no problem. That's part of what I figured this time to do, to see how this gear works, see if you like it, or figured there's a better way to do it. Well, like I said, I finally just had it with waking up in the morning cold, and you know, this way you just crawl out with your shoulders, start the fire, get back in the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to get completely out of your bag to get warm.
Another thing I've noticed, these are they put these on so you can see them. Don't let them get close to this stovepipe at all, though, because if they do, they just melt.
Do they?
Yeah, so particularly like when you put it through the very top of the tent, make sure it's not close to that smoke hole at all, because it'll push them against the stovepipe, and pretty soon you'll see this orange running down, and you no longer have a little findy thing.
In the world would you get a backpacking stove because of the stovepipe?
Yeah, and they all will give off carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
And you've got to vent it out, or I guess the way the Indians worked is the same. You know, they put a liner inside their teepee. You know, they had the fire in the center of the teepee. I always thought, well, why didn't that fill up? Well, when they put the teepee up, they put a liner in on the inside. And there was a gap between the teepee itself and that liner.
And the liner. So it came in from in and goes straight up.
Goes straight up.
So it's kind of like similar to the concept of that, what was I call it? The
Dakota fire?
Yeah, Dakota fire.
Yeah.
Using the airflow to...
Yeah, because I could never figure, well, how in the hell, you know, you watch the Westerns, I got this fire there in the middle of, well, I don't get it.
Yep.
And so finally, I read or saw it on some screen someplace.
So I wonder why they haven't...
On this one, so that you don't tear your smoke hole on the tent
Oh, okay.
when you push it through.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
And then the other thing is remember to open that smoke hole up, because once you put the tent up,
Then you can't get
boy,
to
you
it.
need a ladder to get up there, and you really can't even reach through. It's too small to get your hands through.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did is well, it's close enough. Well, it's got to hold it. It's got these two Velcro strips. Same thing. They touch that stovepipe, they're gone.
They're gone.
You can see where I've been burnt one before.
Oh, yeah. That is just cool. Yep. Kieferoo. It would for the night.
And then you can open the door wide open, put all your gear in.
So does it come with those stakes?
No, it comes with all plastic stakes, and which kind of bummed me out. I thought, well, that's cheap, but actually I think they worked really good.
Do they?
Yeah, and they that weight is always a concern.
You've done it.
Okay, same thing here. He says you want to put about 10 pounds
Pressure.
pressure on it. And the way he says to do it is you put about 10 pounds pressure on it. Pretty snug. Put in a stake. And these aren't on them. I put these on.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And you put in a stake there, and then you refer to your handy dandy instructions. And this being an 8-man tent.
They're sewn in there?
Yep.
Oh,
sewn
nice.
in, so it's always handy.
Nice.
You set it back 48 inches or 4.8 of the long ones. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and about there. So about like that. That's straight. And after I get the 4 corners in, I think I'm going to let it sit a while again to let these freeze up. Because what I did last time, and again, the snow was much worse, they pulled out every time. And what you want to get it really tight, so it sheds snow and it'll, you know, shed the wind. But after about the 3rd time, I pulled them out and had to do it all over again. I was using colorful language, is what Pam said. And she was out in the woods getting wood. She didn't want to hear it. And on this one, he says just make sure it's good and tight. Okay, so good and tight is about right there. And handy dandy instructions said for an 8-man, we go back. I probably don't need this, but I tell you, last time it took me so long. I was wearing those leather work gloves and I about froze up. So that's why you can see where this has been stitched up. I burned them the first time out.
Mm-hmm. It would for the night. The raising of the teepee.
And we'll see.
If you need me to do anything, let me know. Just fell in the snow.
Then the man says, come off and do these just as, and get them tight.
Kamaru.
Good point. As close to this as you can. See, so it's like that a little bit, so it doesn't burn anything up there.
So now that I'm in here, looks like I had you go a little bit too far, huh? On the straight pole.
Well,
does it matter?
Not really.
Okay.
The whole idea is just be sure it's snug so that the wind doesn't blow it down. That the posts and the pole, that's the key. Oh, there's a hole there. And just use a can of water to level it. Okay, I'm gonna get my super duper gloves on so I don't. Hands infinitely black again after just cleaning them off.
Should fire a couple shots back.
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty snug. And again, you can, if you want to, you can loosen this up if you think you need to. Just stick your hand through and spread it. And then tighten it back down. Good and tight.
Oh yeah, it spreads out pretty good.
Okay, we have a stove. I see the first 2 or 3 times I generally screw it up, put it in upside down and inside out. That's it.
That's awesome.
Make sure all your little orange things are sticking out so they're not pushed against that at all. And you want to, again, the closer you get to this, the better, so that it's tipped out so it doesn't burn the very top of the tent.
Yeah, that's all you need. Tall.
After they met up with the Shoshone, which was Sacagawea's people.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in bad shape. They were starving. And as Pierce saw them, they thought, well, we'll just kill them. They can't be good. But there was an old squaw who had been captured by another tribe, and she'd escaped, and she met up with some white people, and they'd helped her. So she said, no, these are good people. We should help them. So from that day on, the Nez Perce were great friends of the white people, but you know, white people being white people. By 65, 70 years later, we'd taken most of their land, and they were over in the Wallowa Lake area, and we were taking more of their land, so a couple of the young bucks killed a couple of white men. Well, the chiefs knew, well, we're screwed, they'll get us.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided, and they went on, I forget how many hundreds and hundreds of miles. They went from there, across northern Idaho, down to central Idaho, fought the cavalry at the, around Whitebird, came down, you know where that town was when we went hiking last year? Just east of there. They attacked the cavalry who was following them and took a bunch of their mules and horses, so many of their supply pack animals that the army had to turn back. They went from there on up through the into Yellowstone, then up into western Montana, where they had another big battle, and it was, I took Pam out there. She cried. The cavalry, when they got a bunch of them, they just stomped the kids' heads in with their boots. But they got away and went through Yellowstone Park, and that's when it was a national park. There were tourists out there, and this whole 1,200 in the tribe.
Wow.
Anyway, when they left that battle out by that little town, headed for Yellowstone, they came right through here.
Oh, really?
So this is right where they came. 1,200 Indians.
Wow. That's awesome.
They knew they'd left the cavalry far, far behind, and they were headed for Canada, where they knew they'd be safe. And everybody was so tired. They knew they'd left the cavalry behind. So they decided to take a couple of days break, 40 miles short of the border. And they didn't know another troop of cavalry has come from the other direction.
Other side.
And they killed them, and that's where Chief Joseph said, I will fight no more forever. For from where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever. And they never let him go back to his reservation until Wallowa. Some of the Indians made it through the battle and got to Canada, but
the majority
joined
of
up
them
with
didn't.
Sitting Bull after the little bighorn.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them finally ended up coming back because they were starved to death up there. There's no food.
Hmm.
I was trying to imagine how it was like all
Yeah, coming
Indian
through.
ponies and travois. Okay, we're heading north. Got a picture Pam took. We were out. You can see where this critter's been coming along the snow, and then you can see where there's feathers all around it, and it just disappears.
Really?
Yeah, so it must have been an owl got it. Drifting a little bit of snow down. She farted so bad, she finally made herself sick, and she got out and had stuff there. I can mess my mouth that often too.
Awesome. Hey. delicious. And it is delicious.
Mm-hmm. Disintegrate, but it didn't. Back east they got a moss called old man's beard. It's long, hangy, stringy stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff they use. When it dries up, they use it for... I'll check out how compact this stove goes. And it's all in there. That is awesome. How much you say it weighs?
It's just a shad under 8 pounds.
Wow.
And again, that's with that fire starter and all those newspapers, so I'm guessing it's just over 7 pounds if you do it right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Alrighty.
If I fall down, I'm going to skin you.
And I'll probably deserve it.
Trail.
End of the trail. Still surrounded by mountains.
Yep.
Of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whate'er befalls. Then gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell into